That's Saoirse Ronan in the yellow corduroys. I know! Hi everybody, Maya here. Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Today's video is going to be longer than I was anticipating because May is usually a heck of a month filled with frantic studying and late bedtimes and little sleep and lots of coffee. But this month, we don't really have finals because of the coronavirus pandemic. So for a month that would typically result in my having very little on my TBR, it has morphed into a month of a mega TBR. And boy, oh boy, am I excited. Hi everybody, So, I did not realize that it was the Asian Readathon, so I didn't have any books by Asian authors or featuring an Asian cast of characters on my TBR, and that just wouldn't do. So, here are 3 extra books I will be reading this month. The first is The Joy Luck Club by Amy Tan. This is a novel my English teacher lent me to read for my petition for more diverse books in schools. This book is not only by an Asian woman and featuring an Asian cast, but it looks specifically at Asian mothers and daughters and their dynamic. I'm really looking forward to this book. Amy Tan is in a band with Stephen King, and that is pretty badass. The next book I will be reading for the Asian Readathon is Inside Out and Back Again. I read this a long time ago when I was in the Battle of the Books competition in elementary school. This is about a family who is migrating to America during the Vietnam War. It features a language barrier, assimilation. It talks about racism a lot, xenophobia, and I'm really excited to go back into this story as an older person. I remember there are mangoes in it, so maybe I'll eat a mango while I read it. The last novel I will be adding to my TBR for the Asian Readathon is First They Killed My Father by Leung Eung. I have read this before. This will be a reread for me, but it is so powerful. This is a memoir about the Cambodian genocide. It is Leung Eung's account of what happened to her and her family, the way her life changed at such a young age, the horrible experiences she's gone through, and what she's taken away from that. It is a beautiful account of her family, and it is a story overall of hope. I remember it made me cry during school, so maybe I'll be lucky enough to cry during online Zoom school. Alrighty everyone, those are the books I'm adding to my May TBR for the Asian Readathon. In addition, last month I read Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han because I realized that I had no books yet for the readathon and I wanted to sprinkle one in there. So, alright, back to the video. The first book on my TBR this month is Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. I've heard so much about this book, so in my last thrift books haul, which was a while back, I picked this one up. Christina Lauren is an author duo that I've heard mostly good things about, and I am feeling in the mood for a light romance, and I'm hoping this will deliver. The next book on my TBR is no other but Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I believe this is another romance, but this one should be less light and fluffy and happy and airy than the last one. The reason I decided to pick this up, well, I guess the reason is twofold. Number 1, I need to read more classics, and number 2, in the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society on Netflix, I still have yet to read the book. There is a character who talks about one day finding her Heathcliff, and I was thinking, what's that from? And I looked it up, and this was the answer, so I knew I had to read it because that movie brings me inordinate amounts of joy. Following Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte is The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. I know that the movie adaptation of this wasn't supposed to be very good, but Saoirse Ronan was in it. Look, I even have her on my cover. Can you see? That's Saoirse Ronan in the yellow corduroys. I know! Yeah, I don't know. Time says it's a triumphant novel. It's a knockout. And I believe it takes place after the main character is already dead. So she's viewing life on Earth through the perspective of someone who's departed Earth. And I think that's an interesting way to tell a story. Gotta have a dose of historical fiction. And this month is... Oh no, I grabbed the wrong book. I'll be right back. Pajama pants again. Woo! Okay. I got the right book this time. They have similar colored spines. I think that's what tripped me up. This month's historical fiction pick is Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. I'm really looking forward to this. It's told in two different perspectives. The first is in 1939 in Memphis, and the other one is in South Carolina, present day. So I think it's a story of a family and their experience. I think it's actually based on a true story, which is the Tennessee Children's Home Society. I think it's supposed to be spooky. I think it will be spooky. I think it'll make me sad. But it says it's the story of a family lost and found, which means there'll probably be a happy ending, and we all know I'm a sucker for those. Okay, now I have two books my English teacher gave me before we stopped going to school. Those books are Black Boy by Richard Wright and The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. I'm really excited. These aren't too long, so I'm happy about that. And though they aren't long, they be powerful, because this one was the winner of the Nobel Prize in Literature, which of course we all know because Toni Morrison is phenomenal. It's really important to me that I read a book from the perspective of someone whose life I have experienced nothing the likes of. It's important to me that I have diversity in my books, because I think we become what we read, and a part of you is invested in every word, every paragraph, every novel that you consume. And so to me, it's important to read stories that I'm not necessarily familiar with to form more empathy and to better understand the people around me. So I'm really looking forward to these two. Miss Sanderson, if you're watching, I'll let you know. And also, see, they're still in pristine condition. I didn't squash them, and I will have them back to you in the 2021 school year. Pinky promise. Okay, those are all my physical books on my May TBR, but you best bet I've got some audiobooks too. I've been on a bit of a Casey West craze. I think this is a mixture of watching Merphy Napier's older videos when she still had a heavy southern accent, and she read a lot of Casey West. She was really into kind of the light, fluffy romances. I don't know. But I've been watching a lot of those, and then I also watch Abigail's Cup of Tea a lot, and I've been watching some of her old videos because they're so cozy and they make me feel happy inside, and she also reads a lot of Casey West. So, this month, my dose of Casey West will come in the form of the audiobook On the Fence. This is one that Merphy Napier talks about a ton. Why did I close this? I need to look at it again. 1 second. On the Fence is a story that I heard talked about a lot by Merphy Napier, and it is a romance, but I believe it's also kind of a coming-of-age story and a character realizing that she can define herself in multiple ways and doesn't have to compartmentalize her identity. And I love those kinds of books, so I'm really excited. I think it features a boy next door. I'm really used to the girl next door trope, so I think a boy next door will mix it up slightly for me. And I think this character is supposed to have really solid relationships with her siblings. She has a lot of siblings. It's like the modern day Weasley family. And I'm really looking forward to exploring their family dynamic, to see how their lives pan out, and to really follow this main character's story. The next audiobook I have, guys, hopefully it'll be here by the end of May. I think it will. I had this on hold for like 6 months, and I'm so excited, and that is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is a story about a girl who, when she was either in high school or college, I'm afraid I don't know which one, but when she was in school, she had a relationship with her professor, and she saw it as a very loving relationship and a very consensual relationship. And years later, she finds out that this professor is in court for inappropriate relationships with his students and sexual harassment, abuse, things like that. And this character in the novel, I'm assuming her name's Vanessa, but I don't know. She's really conflicted because she recounts her time with this man as one of love and friendship and respect, but in the aftermath and in hindsight, might not have been what she thought, and he might have preyed upon her youth and innocent outlook on life. I'm really excited for this one. It was one of the best books of last year, I believe. It was super expensive at Barnes & Noble, so I was not gonna buy it, but I had to read it, so this will be the month. Goodness, this is a bit of a Merphy Napier tribute video, but I'm all here for it. The next book I will be reading on audiobook this month is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. My friend Austin picked this up a few days ago, and we were talking about it, and he told me that he picked it up, and I said he can't tell me anything because I'm gonna read it, and I'm so excited. I don't read a ton of fantasy. I'm more of a standalone novel girl than a series girl, but apparently the Mistborn series is fantastic. And I trust Merphy Napier's judgment, and I trust my friend's judgment, so I will let you know how it goes. Okie dokie, the last book on my list is another audiobook, and this is something my dad wanted me to read. My dad gives me a ton of book recommendations, and until recently I didn't really follow through on them, not because I didn't think they were good recommendations, but because I forgot. Now I have Goodreads, and I can write down the books I want to read so I don't forget. And one of the books he recommended that I'll be picking up this month is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. Okay, so story time. You know those ads on YouTube before the videos that you're watching? And there's one for Masterclass, you've probably seen it, where they have like Natalie Portman like dramatically throwing a plate on the ground, or like Helen Mirren walking as herself, or like Gordon Ramsay, what is that called? Browning a fillet. That is what I wanted to say. Browning a fillet. Anyway, these masterclass ads was actually a Neil Gaiman writing class, and my mind went, he must actually be like really good at this. Again, I trust my dad, but apparently it took a masterclass ad on YouTube to convince me. I'm excited for Neverwhere. I believe it's fantasy. I have no idea. I'm going into it blind. My dad listened to it while he was painting my sister's room, so I'm really excited. This should be a month of good reading. Let's see how many we've got. We've got 3, 6, 9, 10. 10 books. I think I can do it. And let's see, what do I want to read if I surpass my goal, you ask? Well, good question. I don't know. But apparently the Selection series by Kira Cass is being turned into a movie or a TV show, I don't know which one, but one of the two on Netflix very, very soon. And I read those when I were but a wee 6th grade lass. So I might pick up the first novel again and just get reacquainted with the characters and the world and the plot. And maybe I will have a video where I cast the movie/show as I see fit. I named my dog after the secondary love interest in that series because I loved me a good love triangle. That's the whole story, I guess. But yeah, that is my May TBR. I'm really looking forward to it. I have a lot of books on here this month that I'm actually genuinely excited to read. Last month, I had a lot of big books. I had The Winds of War, which was massive, and A Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin, which was a 34-hour audiobook. Hip, hip, hooray. So I needed a break from the massive books. Nothing like I did before. They're just kind of lighter reads for me, and I'm excited. I don't want to get in a reading slump. Those sound awful. Thank you for tuning in today, everybody. See ya all. Have a wonderful day, and what day of the week is this? Time has lost all meaning. One sec, guys. I'm sorry. This is my booktube bullet journal, by the way. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is a Friday, so I will see you all on Sunday. Bye.